a.m., Tuesday, June 15th, 2021. I will call this meeting of the Miami Township, Montgomery County Board of Trustees to order. If everybody could please stand and join in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Newell is excused, not feeling well today.
Mr. Morris.
Here.
Mr. Posey.
Here.
Mr. Culp.
Here.
We have a reading of casualties. Mr. Posey.
We have one military casualty to report today. Army Staff Sergeant Casey J. Hart, participating in Operation Inherent Resolve, passed in Al-Tanf garrison, Syria, on June 8, 2021.
Chief Stegelmeyer, first responders.
Good evening, Board. The following is the first responder casualty list for the period of June 2nd through June 15th, 2021. Firefighter Smoke Jumper Tim Hart, West Yellowstone Interagency Fire Center, Montana. End of watch June 2nd, 2021. Detective Ryan Park, San Diego Police Department, California. End of watch June 4th, 2021. Detective Jamie Huntley Park, San Diego Police Department, California. End of watch June 4, 2021. Police Officer Emmanuel Familia, Worcester Police Department, Massachusetts. End of watch June 4, 2021. Canine Kit, Braintree Police Department, Massachusetts. End of watch June 4th, 2021. Deputy Sheriff William H. Smith, Baldwin County Sheriff's Office, Alabama. End of watch June 6th, 2021. And Police Officer Alexandria Brenneman Harris, Seattle Police Department, Washington. End of watch June 13th, 2021.
If everyone could please join me in recognizing a moment of silence. Thank you. We have no guests or scheduled presentations. I will make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Is there a second?
I will second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris.
Aye.
Mr. Posey.
Aye.
Mr. Culp.
Aye.
New business. Mr. Snyder, you have Resolution 43, 2021.
Good evening, Board. We do have a resolution for your consideration tonight to authorize the submittal of a CDBG grant application to provide funding for a pilot housing rehabilitation program. This would be an owner-occupied program, would be income-based. We would utilize County Corp to manage the program. It would be similar to a program that County Corp currently does in the city of Miamisburg. We're looking to see if we can get funding for this so that we can address some of our nuisance issues within the neighborhoods that aren't easily addressed by other means. The pilot program, though, would be a smaller program to see what interest and need there is in the community for this and what issues we might find with the first few homes that we would take through this process. So again, we would bring a formal agreement and additional details to you if we did receive CDBG funding before we would execute anything, certainly with County Corp. So at this time, we're just seeking authorization to submit an application and see if we could receive any additional funding through this CDBG funding cycle. Be happy to take any questions at this time.
Do you have any estimates on the number of eligible homes within the township?
Not very good estimates. I mean, we did drive a few of the neighborhoods where we thought there might be homes that we would take through this. The difficulty is we don't know what the individual income levels are in those households, so until we put a program together and put that out there, it'd be difficult to gauge exactly how many, but we think there's a dozen or so homes that potentially would be eligible for this at this time. And again, we're looking at probably just 5 to 10 homes max, depending on costs. So
I'm aware of certain programs that are eligible for homeowners to receive funds and then either have those forgiven over time, or do we do any promotion or engagement with homeowners on that degree that might not be eligible, or depending on how this program goes? What do we do now in terms of that identification of resources for repairs?
Well, there are programs through the county, so we don't do a lot right now. This is what we're trying to do to kind of start that engagement and find out what the need is. That is one option, though, is to do these essentially as forgivable loans. That also prevents these funds, discourages the funds from being used by folks that are just looking to flip houses. So there would be a number of qualifications in order to get the funding. You'd have to be current on your taxes. You'd have to be current on your mortgage and homeowners insurance, and things like that to ensure that, again, the funds aren't just going to get used and flipped for somebody. But again, we
Yeah.
can certainly bring in more details on that.
Great. I think the programs are a great idea. I just think it should be part of a broader-based thing as you're identifying potential contacts or houses that may need some of these resources, making sure we have pilot programs like this and other programs available so that they're aware of their ability to multiple routes to get the work done.
Yeah, no, certainly. Okay.
Any additional questions? All right, hearing none, I will make a motion to approve Resolution 43-2021.
I will second the motion.
I think I need to read what it is. It's a resolution to authorize the submittal of a Community Development Block Grant CDBG program application for the Community Development Department and to authorize the Township Administrator to accept a program award. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
I think I jumped over public comment period, but there is no one in the audience, so I don't think we're going to have anybody coming forward. We have no public hearing scheduled. Department head comments? Any department heads wishing to make any comments? No? We have no work session. Elected official comments. Mr. Newell is not here. We wish him a speedy recovery. Mr. Culp?
I have none.
Mr. Posey?
It's exciting to be back in the same room with everybody today, and look forward to continuing to work on ways for more public engagement with these meetings. But otherwise, please keep everything up, and let's keep the COVID cases down.
I would just like to thank our local Miamisburg West Carrollton News for the outstanding coverage of the naming of Chris Snyder as our new Township Assistant Administrator, and a shout out on their sports page for my son's championship volleyball team. It was very exciting to go to Columbus and win a state championship, and I'm hopeful that the Miamisburg Public Schools will get a boys volleyball team together for next season. A lot of students didn't play last year, which impacted this year, so we had a championship team that consisted of 8 seniors and 1 freshman. We had no sophomores, and we had a couple of juniors, but the entire sophomore class was lost due to COVID, and so I want to get those kids back in sports and make up for some lost time. So the volleyball season was canceled in 2020, but hopefully Miamisburg will get us a team back in 2021, 2022. With that, we have no work session. We are going to adjourn into executive session. At the conclusion of executive session, we will adjourn the meeting. There will be no further action taken by the board at this time. So with that, I will make a motion to adjourn into executive session to consider the compensation of a public employee under Ohio Revised Code 121.22, Section G, Section 1 at 6:09. Is there a second?
I will second.
Any discussion?
Mr. Morris?
Aye.
Mr. Posey?
Aye.
Mr. Culp?
Aye.
We are heading to executive session. Thank you all for attending.